Welcome back. The government shutdown is over, and in its wake are questions about exactly what comes next. And to help us answer some of those questions, joining us right now is political science professor Patrick Schoettmer. Patrick, great to see you. Thanks for your time.
No problem, Jessica.
So now that the shutdown has ended, what are the first procedural steps that you suspect Congress is going to be taking?
When we're looking at what Congress is going to do, Congress is going to resume negotiations over the other parts of the budget because the legislation that was passed just keeps the lights on until the end of January. And so it could be the case that if Republicans and Democrats are not able to work out the remaining differences by the end of January, we could find ourselves in this exact situation again.
Do you think that's likely?
I don't necessarily think it's likely, but if there's absolutely no movement on the insurance issue, I do think it's possible we could see another, at least a bit of brinksmanship by the end of the first month.
Okay. And so obviously they're going to be talking, but what are the long-term consequences, if any, that the public should be expecting from all of this shutdown?
Well, traditionally, extended shutdowns have resulted in lower growth over the quarter, and I think the estimates we've seen from the federal government now is that we should see about a 1% lower growth rate because of the shutdown over the last month and a half. Beyond that, well, checks should mostly be going out, I think, in the next week or so because a lot of that's just automated. So once the money's authorized, they can start getting that flowing again. But getting caught up on the backlog of stuff for things like visa processing and stuff could take several weeks.
Okay. And on that note, the last, I guess now it's the second longest shutdown in history was at the beginning of President Trump's first presidency. How efficiently did we bounce back that time around? Are there any comparisons?
So the lengths were fairly similar, and I think, you did see some of the backlash or penalties that federal workers in particular suffered, but also people on benefits. And there was a modest dip in growth, but that was leading into a period where we were having more sluggish growth anyway. So in that case, it's a little bit hard to disentangle.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit bigger picture. From an institutional standpoint, what do you think Congress needs to fix or change in order to prevent us from seeing these funding crises become really routine? We're seeing a lot of this happening.
Yes. So a big part of what we see happening here is rising brinksmanship in the federal government. We did have shutdowns as far back as the Ford administration, but they were only ever like a day long. They were quickly resolved themselves. Starting in the 90s, we started seeing them longer under Gingrich, but then we saw further ramp ups under Obama and then under the first Trump administration. And each of these ramp ups are really pointing us to the core problem, which is a breakdown in bipartisanship or an increase in partisan hostility. So until we're able to get Democrats and Republicans to begin seeing each other as partners and not as enemies, I think we're going to continue to see these partisan breakdowns.
Well, I think most Americans will agree with me that that is a tall ask right now.
Yes, I agree.
Patrick Schoettmer, great to see you as always, and thanks so much for your time.
Anytime.